Yeah, so my today's presentation is like, well, 1042 PyCharm tips and tricks. So no, actually it's only 42, and we won't sit to the, till the next day, so it's only 42, and I'll be very honest because I have a list with 42 items. So yeah, let's start. No, that doesn't work this way. So this is, please raise your hands who uses PyCharm already. Wow, this is really amazing. I hope that still you'll find interesting things, because every time I use PyCharm myself to try to discover new features, I find new features even for me. And I worked for JetBrains for already 6 and 7 years. Yeah, so let's start. We'll start by checking out the project from GitHub. Because writing things from scratch will be a bit slow. And for our demo, we'll use the Django project called vmprof. vmprof actually is a Python profiler, which is a sampling profiler. You can measure the speed of your application and to see the slowest parts, and also it has the web part, which is written in Django and fully open source, and you can upload your profiles automatically there, and then you can see their flame charts. And PyCharm also has, of course, integration with vmprof. So this project is on GitHub, and we will use it for our demo. So we'll clone it. Actually, I encourage everybody to use profilers. I'm I like profilers a lot, and I think it's a very useful tool, actually. People in the Python community leave performance as an afterthought, but I don't think it's right. So this is our project, and we can look into what we have here, and we have here like the editor, and the imports are highlighted with red because we didn't set up our interpreter. So we go to set up an interpreter, and the best way to do it for Python is to create a virtual environment. So we go to the settings, and we create a virtual environment for this project. So we do it like that, and we write prof server, and yes. Yes. And we use Python 3.6 for that. Yeah, after that, our imports are still our index, the interpreter. You see that imports are still red. That's because we don't have the right packages. And you can install your packages from PyCharm. You can use the quick fix install package, but there are a lot of dependencies, and it's not like the tonic way to install dependencies manually. Of course, we have requirements here. So we go to our preferences, and we set up our requirements txt. And the best way to find anything in our settings is to use the search. So, and we see here package requirements file, which we'll select like from here, it's production txt. Okay. After we did that, we see here this little pane which says us that requirements aren't installed, and we can install them, but we won't because it will take time. So we just take one of those two vmprof server visual environments, which I already have, which will save us a bit of time. Right? By the way, maybe you noticed that while choosing the requirements txt, there was a file chooser That's a minor thing, but minor things are very important. The file chooser was native file chooser. Actually, I don't like it. I don't know whether you use Mark or not. I don't like native Mark file choosers. They are awful. And there is a way to, they look nice, but they're not usable. There is a way to substitute this part in PyCharm. And there is a very hidden feature which I'll show you. It's called registry. Maybe you don't know. Who knows about registry? Yeah, PyCharm team knows about registry. Nobody else knows about registry. So listen. Before that, I also recommended another feature like find action. You can press the shortcut, which is no, not this one. You can see the name of the shortcut below, and type here registry. Right, and we see the list of the hidden settings. These are sometimes very useful settings, but you can edit them only on your own risk, because you can mess up. But I still will show you Mac file chooser native, and we disable this. And when we go to our settings again, requirements. You hear IntelliJ file chooser, which is very handy because you have several buttons. For example, you can go to home directory, you can go to text, you can go to the project, and it has completion, and it's much better than my default file chooser. I think that's a very secret hint. You cannot hear about it anywhere.
Question?
Yeah.
You have 3 files for requirements develop and production. Can you choose all of them?
No, I think it doesn't make sense actually, because it's different requirements for different setups. Of course, you can share the requirements like importing. So if you have shared requirements, you can have base requirement where you have the shared part, and then you have the differences. But for this setup, we need the production one. Did I answer the question?
Yeah. Thanks.
So we install our requirements, and as I said, that is a Django project. So let's inspect it. What the project is. We have manage.py file, but we don't see where the Django application is, and let's look for url.py, which is the entry point of every Django application. And to do this, we'll use search everywhere. It's double shift, and it search all files and classes and actions, and just type here url.py. And that's url.py for our Django application. And if you want to see where it is in the project tree, we use this shortcut, like it's navigate, select in. We can choose here where we want it to be selected, and it's project view, and we see that url.py is located in web app. Right. Yeah, and of course we have here templates, and we go, and we see that it's kind of broken. Why? It's broken. Maybe because Django support is not detected, because this project actually has a non-standard. If you know Django, you will mention that it has non-standard layout, and if you use standard layouts, PyCharm detects everything. But if it doesn't detect, there are settings, and you can tune everything in settings. So if something doesn't work, you go to settings and you type Django. And you here have languages and framework support, and yeah, Django support is not enabled, so we just enable it, and we need to specify manually, and we use this perfect button. Like we go here, web app is our root, and we specify the settings. Settings would be this, and specify the manage by this one. Right. And now you see that it has the Django template has syntax highlighting. So we have here like code completion, and we can navigate to all the static imports. And it looks like it works, but if you use, for example, not Django templates but Ginger templates, you can go up again to the settings, and there is another option to select template language, so you can choose, for example, Ginger 2 here. Right, so now after we set up all the things in our project, we can start developing our code, but different people have different habits for and expectations for the editor they use, and PyCharm is very configurable. You can make it to look like anything. You can make it look like Sublime Text, you can make it look like Vim, and I will show you how. First of all, there is a small button here. You can toggle it, and you can turn on and turn off the tool windows that are very useful. There is version control support, console terminal, and a lot of stuff. But if it disturbs you, you can just turn it off. There is a view menu where you can turn off status bar, navigation bar, and a lot of things. But also you can do it just in one click by entering the instruction tree mode. So you just press here, and it starts to look like that. And something like that. And so that is pretty much like Sublime Text or Visual Studio Code looks, but much faster than Visual Studio Code. And by the way, the recent edition in the PyCharm 2017.1 is one of our guys worked hard, and he made even a research about latency of the typing, and he achieved the latency of the typing in the IntelliJ editors, which is now better than Emacs has and Sublime has. Of course, we have still indexing. You've seen that, and it slows down. Sublime Text doesn't have indexing, but it happens only once, and after that we have a lot of functions. Open inside and stuff. So, okay, you can ask a question if you have such setup without tabs. How do you navigate through the files? For that, you have a lot of options. One I showed already is search everywhere. Also, you have search file. You can go specifically to files, for example, in cache.py. Also, you can, if you, for example, that is cache.py, and you have a test cache, and you develop and switch between the two, how you can do that? You can use recent files and just switch, and it's very fast. If you have several, you can use something like Ctrl-Tab, so actually Ctrl-Tab. You can switch this way. Another way, if you go back and forth from tests to the code, there is a thing called split. You can split your files vertically and horizontally. Always forget horizontally. No. Unsplit. Split vertically. So you can have it like, and you have here the test, and here you have the code. And having the test, what you do with the test? You can run it from PyCharm. You just press the right button and PyTest and test cache. And the test is executed. And here you have the tests. You can navigate to your tests, which is nice. And you can run a decent test from here. But the best feature I like the most is automatic run of the test. So you just toggle this button. It's called auto test. You toggle it, and you then start to develop. For example, you go here and you write test empty result equals, and you see the completion. That's pretty obvious. And by the way, you can have pressing the shortcut. You can have documentation here. And also pressing the shortcut, you can look for parameters if you don't remember what to pass here. It expects some string, and then we write sort result equals. PyCharm shows me that I forgot a second. And you see the test fails, right? It reruns it on every change in the background. And now I fix this. And it runs it again. And you see that it's fixed. So you can develop very fast with that approach. You just write it. Or then you write the test, and if you need to have some changes here, you just switch to the second pane and you make a change there. It's very fast. Here you see the integration version control. This is new, green means new, and you can revert. Also you can revert with the shortcuts, Command Alt Z, so you can revert it. Right, let's go further. You already seen the, some error highlighting, but PyCharm has a lot of inspections that analyze your code. For example, here you see unused imports, and you can fix it very fast by optimize import action. You just press the shortcut and the imports are optimized. Like you can clean up the code very fast, right? And then we go through the code and we see that web 8 actually is violated. That's not good. And in PyCharm there is action format code. You press the shortcut, it calls format. Right? It's a very useful commit you can make, like clean up. People always name such commits clean up, but actually I think this looks much better than it was before. And PyCharm, of course, supports all that not only for Python, but also for JavaScript. For example, if we go here, like we open JavaScript file. No, we don't need this now. Right, we have an awful JavaScript file which doesn't have, for some reason, the semicolon at the end, which theoretically is possible now, but it's not recommended because when you minify JavaScript, it will be screwed up. And PyCharm shows you that semicolon is missing, and we can terminate it one by one. We can clean up all the file, but the best way to do it is select folder and use an action called run inspection. So we again use find action. Here we type run inspection by name, and here we write unterminated statement. And we execute this inspection for the directory, right? We press analyze, and it shows us that there are 495 warnings, right? So it's not good. How much time will it take to fix it manually? I think all day you can work hard, but here you can just fix it, like terminate, and it terminates, it will terminate all the. So now it's fixed. So yeah. What is the time? So yeah, it's not very much time, but we'll make it, right? Yeah. Okay, skip that. We skip that. Okay, let's run our application. So we can revert all the stuff we made doing that, because I don't want to check that. And let's unsplit it. Unsplit. And so we want to run the stuff. We'll exit instruction remote. And here we have run configurations to run. Of course, you can do that from instruction remote, and you can do that with the shortcuts, but I want to show you how it looks in the UI. So we have a notion of run configuration here, and we have already automatically created to launch our tests, and we will create now one for running our Django server. Let's create it a name Prof. So let's start it. It doesn't work because we have non-standard project setup. So that app dot settings, that would be better. We start again. Right, kind of works. But it seems that it doesn't. And we go to the console and we read that we have unapplied migrations here. That is what we forgot to do. We forgot to set up our database, and we would use normally managed by console from the run managed by commands from the terminal, but in PyCharm we have integration with managed by tasks, which is called run managed by tasks, obviously. And that is a very nice tool. It has code completion, and it also understands all the runtime, so it introspects all the project, and it even can complete your custom commands. And here you can see, for example, migrate. It shows you the documentation, and also it hints you with the arguments and not to remember all stuff. But we'll migrate the database for all the project. So we run our migrations and we start it again. Right, seems that it works much better, but it doesn't have data yet. So to have our data, we will use terminal. And PyCharm has integrated terminal. And those colors we see here because I use fish shell, and you see that there is a VMprov server. It's our virtual environment already activated automatically by the integrated terminal, and we are located in the project folder, so we don't need anything to do. We just need to collect a snapshot to test our server, and we run something like Python manage py test from here, just to check that it works. Okay, so Django test works. Now we want to profile them, and we do it using vmprov, like vmprov URL, like this, I think. Yeah, it worked. It's good that it worked. So it uploaded the CP profile to our server, and let's check it. Yeah, we have our profile here, and that's very nice. And we have some data. Our application works. Let's look at this data. In PyCharm, you can do it by using the database integration. You just select your SQLite database and you use it as data source. Yeah, just connection. Okay. So actually we have here database SQL console, but we don't need it. We go directly to the, no, not this one, to the database view. And we're looking to the CP profile. Again, here we have our snapshot with some binary data. Very useful. Yeah. So I think we can wrap up with this presentation because there are a lot of things to do and to show. Let me do this way. I just, as we have our PyCharm team here, ask somebody from PyCharm team, what can I show else? What can you suggest me to show? Any feature which is super cool and I forgot about? Inquiry. That's a special effects.
I have one. definition of a function if you control-click on the function. That's really nice.
Yeah.
I've learned that just 2 weeks ago. That was really good.
Yeah, you can go to Python code and you can control-click or use Control-B and go to the definition to the libraries or code, anything. Oh yeah, I know. A very cool feature I forgot about is a lot of history. If you at some point forgot to commit your code and for some reason it was deleted, you can go, PyCharm can save your life. You can go here and show history, and here you have the log of what you did for the recently, and you can roll back and for example, we have some changes here and we delete this file. Delete it anyway. And then, what did I do? Go here and we have it deleted and we can from here revert it. So, yeah, we have it back. Right, it's saved a lot of time for me. So what I can show features of PyCharm like until tomorrow morning, or I don't know, we have a debugger which is worth a separate tutorial, or we have profiler and a lot of features. And if you're interested, you can look into the internet. We have a lot of videos like getting started with. Well, version control integration is amazing. So many things to learn about it. And, of course, the learning process takes time, but it pays off in the end. So, as far as you learn, you start to be more productive. So, I encourage you to use PyCharm, and probably you know we have free community edition, which is open source and suitable for a lot of projects, and we have professional edition, which is paid version and has even more features, especially for web development. So I think that's it, if you have any questions. Yes?
So now what if I forget?
Sorry, can you?
So now what if I forget things quickly and I don't remember all these key bindings? Would you know where I could find like a key map or something like that? Maybe in a printed version?
Let me think. There are key maps on the table, you can grab them. Also, by the way, if you want to save some trees, if you don't want to take printed version, you can go to help, and there is key map reference right here. Here it is. By the way, that was a book by our co-worker Trisha G about code review, which is, I didn't finish it, I can recommend it. So that's the map. Yeah, you can use it.